Hi everyone, Nonnie here. I'm going to hike the Appalachian Trail in March of 2023 and I hope you'll come with me. I want to share some information with you about my Shakedown hike. I went in the middle of July, the hottest, most humid time of the year. If you all have followed me, you'll know that summer is not my best friend. We just are not best friends. But I did it on purpose, and I did it because I wanted to see if I was going to actually be able to hike in hot weather like that, humid weather like that, on the AT. It was a perfect test. That's part of what a shakedown hike is. For those of you that don't know what a shakedown hike is, it's for you to take your backpack, have it fully loaded, you check out your gear, your equipment. Is it too heavy? Is it too light? Did you take enough food? Did you take too much food? You figure out all kinds of things on a shakedown hike. How to, put up your tent in the rain. I suggest that you probably practice that before you actually go on the hike, because that's an interesting experience, setting up a tent in a rain and trying to break a tent down in the rain with all the dirt and mud that goes along with it as well. However, I did start at the approach trail. It is 8.8 miles from the beginning of the approach trail to Springer Mountain, which is the official beginning of the Appalachian Trail. It's at the southern terminus where it starts. And it was interesting. And so Amicalola Falls is a beautiful, gorgeous waterfall. It is 720 feet high. And guess what? Do you really realize how tall that is? That is 3 times higher than Niagara Falls. Yep, I'm telling you the right thing. It is. Somebody told me that, and I said, I don't think that's right. Didn't say it, but I thought it. Came home and did my research. Sure enough, that baby is 3 times higher than Niagara Falls. Also, 720 feet. If you think about this, let me back up. There's 604 steps that you go up to the top of that falls. 604 wooden steps. And if you do your math and you think about this, a flight of stairs is 12 or 13 steps. And then you're on another flight. 604 divided by 12 or 13 is about 46 flights of steps. That's how tall that was, walking up there until you got to the top, and then that's where the trail continued on, where you could go from that point, hiking towards Springer Mountain. Got to Springer Mountain, everything was great. It was a little difficult, but that's okay. Slow and steady wins the race. I did it, and I used my hiking poles. And I used the technique that I learned from Rory Anderson on Who is Bigfoot. Now, I wanted to talk to you about my hiking poles for just a minute. These are my hiking poles. They're black diamond hiking poles, and these are the women's poles that have the cork handles, which are antimicrobial, and these straps. They all come with straps, but these straps, they come with a right and a left. Now, I would think that anybody would, really wouldn't need to know right and left, but they're actually made for your right and left hand. They're done that way for a purpose. Hiking poles are not that technical. They're not that hard to learn, but there's different things that you have to do a different way to be successful and get the most out of them. Anyway, used my hiking poles, hiked up the mountain, and it was awesome. I had a great experience. Got to Springer Mountain parking lot. It comes after Springer Mountain, then comes the Springer Mountain parking lot. And I think this is where day and section hikers can come and park and just have a day hike. It's a great place. There's a waterfall that's near there as well, a different waterfall. And I decided, well, I'm going to keep on hiking, and I'm just going to hike to the next tent shelter area instead of staying at the Springer Mountain tent shelter area. I got down about a mile or two past the parking lot area, back into the woods, and I got to a water source. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go on ahead and fill up my water now because I need to filter some water. That's fine. When I finished filtering my water, I looked around, I looked up, and I looked at the trees, and I didn't see any markings for the trail. I didn't know where to go. And it was at a dead end. And I thought, okay, did I miss where I was supposed to go? Was I not paying attention? Because I really had been trying to pay very close attention and be thoughtful about my movements. I thought, well, let me just back up. I'll just go back to the parking lot. Hiked all the way back there. No, I didn't miss a turn. And I thought, okay, now this is interesting. So I hiked back down and I thought, let me just pay attention again. No, I didn't miss a turn. I ended up at that same water source. So I crossed over the water source and I kind of looked at the trees that were going up the pathway and I thought, I don't see a white blaze. Well, solo hiker, first time, not a seasoned hiker, I decided that I was going to, because it was 4:30, turn around and go back and stay in the Springer Mountain parking lot and set up my tent for that night. Now, you more seasoned hikers or hikers that have been doing section hikes for a long time are going to say, you know, all you have to do is follow the footpath, the well-worn footpath. And my response is, that's a pretty valid argument unless you get, as I often did, to a point where there was a fork in the road and there were two well-worn footpaths and neither one of them were marked. Navigational skills are part of learning how to hike and move across the AT, and it might have been a little bit better if there was a marking there for my purpose, but you know, they don't put right-hand turn signals on those trees, city girl. You know, you just have to learn. And I kept going on that trail. The next morning I got up and I went right back down to that water source, crossed over, and I thought there's nowhere else to go. Unless I went, you know, you got to a dead end and you could go this way or this way. And I don't know why I chose not to go that way. I crossed over the water crossing and continued going up. It took about a mile and I found a white blaze, so I saw that I was doing the right thing. At that point, I felt a whole lot more comfortable. That was good. Getting back to Springer Mountain experience, let me share this with you. In Georgia, they are fabulous about having cables hooked up in the tent shelter areas for you to hang your bear bags. Well, but they don't do that in the Springer Mountain parking lot, nor should they, because it is a parking lot. And so when I spent the night there that night, I thought, what am I going to do? There is no cable here for me to hang my bag. And it was my first night solo hike of being, you know, trying to figure all this stuff out. I took out my rock bag. I took out my rope, and it took me 7 tries, until I got that over a limb and hung it properly. But I did it, and I was screaming for joy. I was happy because I was able to do it. And anybody would have looked at it and said it was far enough off the ground, it was far enough away from the tree, and it was far enough down from the limb. It was done well. It wasn't a PCT hang, which is what I probably should have done, and we can talk about that in another video, but it was a good bear hang, and I was really proud of myself. Anyway, continuing on, I finally got up to the top of Blood Mountain, and man, was it a challenge. Woo-wee, was it a challenge. I got up there though, and as I was approaching, you kind of walk up and you see this old rock shelter. It's like a home. It's a historic building. It is the most beautiful, awesome structure. And as I was standing there, I could hear people talking. I was outside of the shelter and I could hear people talking, but it was coming from above me. And I looked up and I thought, how did these people get up there? Because all that was next to me was boulders, huge boulders. Those people had scrambled up those boulders to get up there because there was a scenic overview. And so I thought, how am I going to get up there? There are no steps. You have to figure it out. Hiking poles, 30-pound backpack. I did it. I got up there. And once I got up there, it was the most phenomenal experience for me. I got really quiet and I could feel that I was starting to get choked up. And I got some tears in my eyes as I was looking at this panoramic view, and it was gorgeous. It had finally, the sun had come out. It had been pouring down rain. It was the most exceptional experience. And I realized that these emotions, these feelings that I was experiencing were a Band-Aid being taken off, and healing that was going into that space instead, because as I've shared with you, this is a journey of healing for me. The beauty that surrounded me, it was so awesome. It was a little bittersweet because as happy as I was, I am so used to going hiking, section hiking, day hiking, camping with my husband. I wished he'd been there with me to experience that, but I knew he was there in my spirit and in my heart. And you know, the hike is about my healing and about me experiencing nature and being a female and an older female and being able to do this successfully and do it successfully with physical limitations, which I did. I was so proud of myself. I'm going to close this video for now, but I will have another video to continue on with this story because I don't want to go on too long. However, two things before I close. One thing is, I forgot to talk about yesterday when I was talking about my ultra trail shoes, about inserts. And a lot of people, you know, hikers, everybody uses inserts for their shoes. Well, Superfeet is a great product. There are a lot of great products out there. There are products that you can actually mold, put them in the oven. You can have them cut down to size. I mean, you can have orthotics made. There are a lot of great ways to get inserts for your shoes. However, because some of the gear and equipment is rather expensive, I was thinking maybe I would just try something a little inexpensive and see how they worked. And so this is what I purchased. I purchased these Dr. Scholl's Women's Extra Support inserts. And this is what they look like. They have holes here for aeration. It has a fabulous arch support that I could feel whenever I put my shoes on. It made a big difference. And they're really cushy. So whenever you're walking, your heel it's going into this cushy gel. It's called Relieves Lower Back Pain and Foot and Leg Fatigue from Being on Your Feet. These things have been the bee's knees. I mean, they've been great. So, you know, they only cost $12 and they've worked great. And I'm still on my same pair, and I've already gone through 2 pairs of shoes and I'm still using the same inserts. They're not worn out yet. They're really good. But I also talked to you about the fact that I had to figure out how to use my shoes and use them properly. Tying them the right way, making sure that I had the right size. I have these inserts that go into my shoes now, but this is the other product that I talked to you about. I talked to you about using Foot Glide. Now, I was actually teased about this while I was doing my Shakedown hike, and actually not just teased, but kind of scoffed at in a mean kind of way. I don't care. You know what? I put this on my feet. I make sure my feet are clean. I put this on my feet. I put on those Injinji toe socks. Put my shoes on. Make sure they're tied properly so you know my heel is anchored into the back of my shoe, and I didn't have any problems at all. So if this product and this product and these shoes and Injinji toe socks can help you, then please try them. I think that it was a great combination. And last but not least, if I've said anything to inspire or encourage you today, being an older hiker and willing to try and get up and go, I hope I have. Please subscribe and hit the like button.